Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm Liz Santiago. I'm representing the Fulfillment Lab. I first want to say thank you all for coming out and joining us today. We're really excited to be sponsoring the CBD panel, especially since the launch of our newest on-demand products, our clinically certified organic CBD. So you can imagine it's been quite the hot topic for us lately. I'm sure it has been for plenty of you in the room. So I'm confident that Sean's going to do an awesome job at answering a lot of these questions that have been lingering and kind of shed some light on this seemingly gray area in the industry. So also, please feel free to approach myself, Andrea, and Clark, who are also in the room, to answer any additional questions you might have after the panel. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Sean. So Sean Kelley, he's pleased to be presenting CBD today, basically going over how CBD can evolve your business. So going over CBD and the key points of how it became the product that it is today and how it can really propel you from trial to straight sale. So he'll be going over the current state of the product today and where it's heading in the future, as well as the array of products that are available for both humans and pets, the importance and the impact that it's having for the industry, as well as an array of products and what you can be offering your customers. There's also a questions and answers segment, part of the presentation, so feel free to ask all the questions you need. And here he is, so please give him a warm welcome.
Hey, guys. Thank you, Liz.
Yeah.
Is this on? Cool.
Alrighty.
Thank you, Liz.
No problem.
Hello, Adsum. How's it been this weekend? Yeah?
You're
Tired.
got too much CBD.
Too much CBD.
THC.
Yeah. Well, it's funny when I think about trial industry and CBD, I don't think about cannabis oil. I think about customers becoming disillusioned, is what that acronym means to me. Where's this clicker thing? I've got to get myself acquainted here, guys. Give me a moment. Is it this green button here? I'm not used to doing a. There we go. There we go. So the opportunity for trial with CBD is actually pretty big if you guys want to take advantage of it. I see a lot of companies here that have put CBD up and treated it just like another trial continuity offer. Probably, and so I'm going to get into all that, but first I'm going to talk about who I am and why I would present on CBD. That's myself and my daughter. She's 15. She also understands what CBD is, but is anti-marijuana, which I'm really happy about for her age, as she's too young for that. She's 15. I've been in digital since '98 with my first startup, and I got involved in the cannabis industry in like 2004. I started working with a group called Normal. Normal is an organization that advocated medical marijuana and did so for many years, and is why we have marijuana laws where they are today, why CBD has actually become a product, is because of the work Normal did with the government. I was key in driving revenue into Normal, giving them enough money in '09 to actually lobby in to get marijuana laws passed for medical use. Since then, I have worked with the folks that started Cannabis Radio, the who's who in the industry. I started working with a group of a Japanese family that is known for being one of the largest growers of houseplants for Home Depot, and they turned a couple of their grow houses into industrial grade hemp. This was about 3 years ago. And I evolved them, or evolved part of their business, or evolved a business for them that was B2C versus B2B. And it was B2C digital. And it was selling CBD online. And they're a soil to oil. They own every step of the process. The only time that money is exchanged is from the retail arm to the customer or from the wholesale division. And that's it. There's no extractor that's separate. There's a third-party lab that goes through and does every single aspect of testing, and then all that testing is provided to the public based on a number that appears on each product that they present. You can go to the website, search that number in their lab results area, and you'll get a full, beautiful lab results page, which I'll show here in a minute. So what is CBD? Do you guys know what CBD is? Cannabinoid, yes. And it is the non-euphoric, non-psychoactive aspect of the cannabis plant that gets extracted and then can be consumed safely by kids, by pets, by people. It has 8 proven benefits. These are proven benefits. So, and this is where, we kind of get into some touchy ground here later on, I'm sure in the AMA aspect of this. You guys might hammer me with that, which is great. But it does provide relief from pain and inflammation, has antipsychotic effects, reduces anxiety, helps fight cancer. I put an asterisk next to that one. I'll get into that in a moment. Relieves nausea, effects against seizures, effective against ADD. I believe that one of our great trial offered gentlemen here actually has a child that's ADD, gives it to his child. It's a huge change and shift in their behavior, much more manageable. Lowers incidence of diabetes. It helps fight cancer. It truly does. You go to cancer.gov, search CBD there, you'll find that this does indeed target certain types of brain cancer. My mother passed away of the same brain cancer this would have solved that the government knew about in like 73. So that's why I personally advocate this and spend my time with it. It's a good thing to put in the world. The company that I've worked with is Pure Hemp Botanicals. They're out of Brighton, Colorado. The best-selling products on that website, tinctures. Tinctures, 300 milligram tinctures consistently sell, no problem at $74.95, straight sale. We sell a massive amount of 3,000 milligram tinctures. Those anywhere price range from $170 to about $270 retail. When you get into CBD, you'll find that like a lot of the pricing is actually per milligram. You'll be able to back it out to that. And just so happens, the more milligrams you go, the cheaper your cost goes and your profit goes through the roof. So selling 3,000 milligram tinctures is actually a great way to go. But to get your customers in and to keep your costs down, doing 60 milligrams or a product as such is actually a nice way to go to get into the industry. Capsules, soft gels come in number 2. Vapes is a category that we do sell on that site. That's a little more touchy. It's a fabulous way to intake CBD into the body, but you're going to have a little bit tougher time with payments, finding people that can process payments for vapes. I had Heartland, very nice mainstream, Wells Fargo backed me until they discovered vapes. It wasn't the CBD that they were offended by at that point, it was the vapes. And they shut me down immediately for that. Isolates comes in number 4, which is the crystalline form of CBD. So it's a pure CBD. The 1 grams do killer. So that would be 1,000 milligrams. So with trial continuity, you guys can have some obstacles, right? I don't like to think of it like a leaky bucket. I like to think of it like a bucket with half a bottom, because half of your water is just going to run right out of it. And the real issue I see there, is and it was great to hear Lucas speak earlier. I don't know if you guys heard Lucas speak earlier, but he did a great talk in there. One of the things he was talking about was the retention of the customer, and how because it's a supplement type arrangement, you're having to quiz the customer. Well, hey, did you take 2 capsules? You're constantly. I guess the point is you're constantly trying to fight with the customer to keep them in the program, and they don't really receive the effects of the product until after 2 weeks or 3 weeks or what have you. With CBD, the effect that the customer gets can be instant. I've had it not be instant with me, but I've woke up the next morning with no back pain. But it's that effective. And when you can charm your customer with a product that's actually going to meet that expectation and give them immediate relief from something, you're going to be able to keep them in that program much, much longer. You've earned their trust instead of fighting for their trust. So that's really the biggest piece, and that's what Fulfillment Labs and I really got into in terms of what they see that their trial continuity people are doing, and evolving into more of a continuity business that has real bona fide customers and brand trust. So I talked about customers becoming disillusioned with CBD. Fast results, highly effective. Forgive me if I'm speaking ahead of my slides. I normally do not present with slides. Normally we'll just talk and kind of do more of an Oprah style type of, In fact, I can't wait to pass a mic around and you guys can hammer me. So, the background of CBD is interesting. Queen Victoria used it in the 1900s to relieve menstrual cramps, which is an interesting fact. In the 40s, it was studied here in the States quite a bit, but nothing really came of it. As cannabis was a Schedule I drug here in the States. Much of the research that's done that we have now on it has actually come out of Israel, where the endocannabinoid system, which is an entire system inside of the body that CBD affects, and so does cannabis, was recently discovered. So we're talking about within the last decade that this all has kind of come to light. So CBD to me it's constantly being disruptive. It's disrupting industry after industry after industry. It's like a natural Tylenol. It doesn't have the adverse side effects of anything. It's not going to create stomach lining bleeding like aspirin would if you take too much aspirin, as an example. What's the risk for you guys? Well, the DEA is something to talk about, right? So this was an excerpt from an interview that the DEA gave to a newspaper in Indianapolis, actually, and where they talked about what their stance is today. Because there are many risks here, and the DEA did have it Schedule I at one point. There's an act called the Cole Act, which bars them from spending any money on prosecuting over cannabis law. But you can see the people are not dying from CBD. In fact, it's saving their lives. So it would be really interesting over the next 90 days to see what happens with some of the law around that. But its current stance, I have no fear with what's happening with CBD. Medical marijuana or cannabis, on the other hand, I see where it's kind of touch and go, state to state, really. CBD, I've been shipping to all 50 states, and I have no concerns whatsoever. Does anybody have any questions on the DEA? No, everybody's back there, please.
What's like if the DEA comes back and says this is illegal? I mean, are we going to jail for that, or what's like the worst scenario that you could see?
Oh man, if they said it was illegal, I'm sure that there'd be a statute to allow you to shut down first. So I'm not really concerned about that part of it, if it going to jail or anything, There's just too many people involved in this. That it would be a nightmare, to say the least, for them. Yes?
Is it kind of two-pronged from what I've read up on this, is that some of the states have decided that they're going to enforce it, or it could be a federal issue or a state issue. Most states don't have a problem with it, and the DEA right now doesn't really care about it as far as funding, but there have been states that have taken police action against it. Level?
I have not had any issue with any states taking action against it, selling it online.
I have one other question.
Yeah.
Is it hemp oil or CBD oil, or is there a difference? Can you explain the two, or am I getting too far in your presentation?
No, you're fine. So hemp oil could be CBD oil, but it may not be CBD oil. That's the thing. So like the way that I've got some marketers getting around this on Amazon is calling it PCR hemp oil. So it's actually pure cannabis oil, but they're not actually saying that, they're just using the acronym of it. But you'll find that if it's got that acronym in it, it is CBD. If it doesn't, it may not be. Does that answer your question?
Yes and no.
Okay.
The CBD itself, does that not come from the flower itself versus hemp oil, which comes from the stem and the seed?
No, you can get CBD right out of the stalk. Any plant part you can get CBD out of. So, Yeah, all good. Yeah. So you'll find where some manufacturers will do full plant, where they will shred the full plant and run it through extraction. I had a great connection with Theo here, the lawyer who presented. Hi, Theo. And he advocated to find stock-only based CBD, which I think is very smart. But yeah, you can get it from any plant part.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions on the DEA? Yeah.
Is it still considered Schedule 1?
It,
The Cole memo has said that they're not going to fund any enforcement of it?
correct.
So essentially, it's a Schedule 1 drug, but they're not funding any,
No, CBD is not.
they're not funding any type of enforcement.
Right, they're not funding any action against it. Theo, you got something to add to that?
Yeah, at the moment, the DEA is all over the place on CBD. At the moment, they have a rule that says that it's not legal. However, we also have later guidance by the DEA saying that certain types of CBDs would be legal, including those from the stalk of the plant. That is just guidance, that isn't the rule. The Hemp Association has sued the DEA in California, I believe, or Washington, and the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is going to hear that case in the coming months. We should have much more clarity about CBDs, let's say 90 to 180 days from now, about the legality of it. And even after that, we've got to deal with FDA issues, et cetera, and FTC issues, if you will, the claims you're making about CBD oil. But certainly, do I think anyone's going to jail over this? Absolutely not. I think it's one of the, we can't say it's completely legal yet, and even in the marijuana space, we have what we call the Cole memo protection that provides a level of protection. This is all murky area, and I would say it will be cleaned up over time, but there's certainly a gold rush going on right now to try and get market share.
Yep. Thank you, Theo. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Wonderful. Any other questions on that? It's funny, Theo, thank you, because my next slide is to make no claims. And I will talk about the FTC. One thing I won't really get into is the FDA, because that's too sticky hot water for me to get up here and talk about. But the FTC has shut down different companies from making any claims. I've had to remove any external links from my site to any reference of a claim even. I've gone that far. But any claim at all outside of this may help you with this, that you can go ahead and say that, and I'm sure some of you have some great copywriters and know how to write copy around what the FTC rules are. But I really stay away from making any claims whatsoever.
Can I just ask
Yeah, of course.
you had mentioned. Check. Okay. You had mentioned Israel had done most of these studies and research on it.
Absolutely.
Could you link to a study done in Israel from your website, or is that not even allowed?
I'm not going to say it's not allowed. I have chosen not to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, but there is tons of great resources out there that you could link to all day long. I mean, and an out-of-country website. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but it's going to fall in the same bucket as in terms of the FTC if they want to really be scrutinizing you. They want to make it hard to even market by association. You follow? Yes.
Hi, sorry, I have a
Hi.
question. So looking for more information about basically the language that you can use around the claims that you make when you are talking about CBD. So you showed a slide that gave information from, I believe, the Indiana Police Department, you said?
Yes.
Do you have another resource, anything that could maybe, I think you kind of mentioned it, talk more about the DEA's stance a little bit more officially, kind of? Like, do they have this on their own website or anything like that?
There is plenty of websites that report it. I've not seen it on the DEA's own website. They did issue a letter a few months ago,
Okay.
and that I can actually send you,
That would be
Liz.
great.
And I'm happy to provide you with all that information. In terms of the way the language, it's really not making any claims, but you could say, hey, it may do this, but you can't say it will do this.
I was going to say, I think there are two points to that particular thing. The claims that you actually make about what the product can do, and the claims that you make about the legality as well. Like if you have people who are purchasing it who are concerned about that aspect of it. So just, yeah, if there's any more information about either of those things.
Absolutely, and I'd be happy to send you whatever you need offline.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, on claims, it's good advice
Yeah.
not to make claims. But legally, you're allowed to make claims for CBD or any other product, including health claims, if you have the right kind of substantiation that the
Yes.
FTC will accept. So if you do a randomized clinical trial on your CBD product to test certain health effects, and the study is successful, and it's a well-designed, well-conducted trial, you can make claims. You can make a claim based upon that study.
Yes.
Or if you have CBD studies done by others that are translatable to your product, you can base claims on those studies. But it's very risky to make any health claims unless you are very, very confident that you have the right kind of substantiation for those claims.
Absolutely. In response to that, sir, I'd like to talk about CW Hemp, which is the biggest CBD company in the world, Charlotte's Web. They're here in Denver, and they were actually named by the FTC for any claims, and they have clinical trials. They've worked with Canna Kids, which is a group of moms that has started administering CBD to epileptic children with killer results. And yet any claims that that CW Hemp had on their site, the FTC wanted removed. So outside, I think the FTC is just taking full, like, they don't care even about what they've said. This is what they want. And yes, Michael.
In the supplement world, and that's we know Grant, we know CW Hemp really well.
Oh, cool.
Good buddies. It's always the FTC. Fuck the FDA. That's not. You never worry about them. It's FTC, FTC, FTC. They're the fuckers that shut you down. I mean, so that's all you worry about. FDA, don't even care. If FDA likes it, doesn't matter. It's FTC. And it's all about claims. I mean, CW Hemp got in trouble for a testimonial they didn't even put on their site.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even, it was just somebody with the testimonial and they went down. But they cleared that up, by the way.
Yes.
So that's over. But then now they're having shipping issues because of it.
Yes.
So anyway, just a side note. But it's FTC is the issue.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, sir, I totally understand where you're coming from. Just FTC and how they've attacked this vertical has been really over the top, you know?
Correct, and especially so-called disease treatment claims, like cure cancer, treat cancer, cure Alzheimer's, reduce Alzheimer's. Claims that specifically say that it will prevent, treat, or cure disease are especially risky.
Absolutely.
And to be avoided, unless you really have a bulletproof study to back it up.
Yes, absolutely. Very well said. Very well said. Any other questions on the FTC and making no claims? Please don't make any claims. Test results. One of the things that I did, because I've worked with CBD so closely, is when Fulfillment Labs came to me and said, hey, you know, you're going to speak on CBD, we want you to vet our product. I went in and vetted their product, and I had a great call with their supplier and got into their own testing results and, you know, to really see if it was a bona fide product. And it passed all of my litmus tests. Quality is there. Their extraction process is awesome. They have one supplier that does whole plant, from what I understand. It is a full spectrum CBD, so if you are going to say, hey, this may provide pain relief, the compound that's within their product will actually provide pain relief, and your customer will feel that. which kind of gets me into some hot water here, but I'm going to explain it. CBD has several different compounds in it that affect the endocannabinoid system or your body in different ways. You can relieve anxiety with it. You can take care of inflammation and pain with it, would be two basic ones. Now, if I have a product that's rich in inflammation or pain relief, but I've sold this product and it's actually the compound in it is high for anxiety, the customer may not feel any pain relief from that, but may feel a drop in anxiety. So a full spectrum CBD that covers all of it, you're ensured that your customer is going to cover all of that. And that is indeed what the product from Fulfillment Labs does. So you can go ahead and make those claims and the customer will feel that instant gratification once receiving the product. Very, very, very tight operation over there. I was really impressed with what Rick presented to me and what have you. So I really would implore you guys to engage with Fulfillment Labs and really check out their product. And I'm stoked that you guys brought some. There's a bunch of product on the back table there when you guys leave. And I want to show you an example. This is Pure Hemp Botanicals testing results for one of their products. This was for this raspberry tincture here. And here it breaks down all those different compounds in this testing results. And you'll see, CBDA may not mean anything to you, but I actually have another slide in the presentation. It actually has a pie chart in it that will show you what those different compounds are and how they affect different things if you want to go that far down. So, and we'll make sure that that's available for you guys for download after the event. Any questions on yes, go ahead, Mike.
When are you decarboxylating it to turn the CBDA into CBD as one? And then where's the terpene profile?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Are you basically decarboxylating it to turn the CBDA into CBD?
Yes.
And then what's the terpene profile? Because that's the most important part. And then
terpenes.
and then are you extracting it away without like isolating it, putting it back? Like what's the extraction method? Is it really full spectrum without screwing the terpenes up? Because that's really where it's at.
Yeah. It is where it's at. With this particular product that I've shown, there is no terpene profile on it because the terpenes were extracted. It is a closed loop extraction, but that's not all the products that they offer. This is just and in hindsight, maybe I should have used one that actually had terpenes in it, but because they will take and add terpenes back in, and what have you, which I don't agree with.
That's not what you want. You can't use isolate's illegal, by the way, and you can't take isolate and add terpenes back in, or you're breaking GW Pharmaceuticals' patent.
Right.
So you're fucked.
Yeah.
So it's all or nothing. You either fucking do it right or not at all.
Right.
And also the entourage effect doesn't exist if you do it that way, and you don't get the effect.
Right.
I'm just curious.
I'm like totally stoked that I got some versed people in CBD in the audience that know as much as I do. Thank you, Michael. That's awesome. And yes, this particular product does not show the terpene profile. 100%. I didn't get anything from. I got a kind of looser test result from Fulfillment Labs, but I know it's full spectrum with everything in it, including the terpenes. So rest assured that product is complete and meets those requirements that you just threw down, Michael. But that was just an example of what those are. The other issue that CBD faces is payments. And this has been really difficult. I mentioned Heartland a little while ago. I've been fortunate to have a couple payment processors that are very mainstream still stick with that particular company. The payments have become very difficult with this. And part of that is because it's not 100% legal in all 50 states, so there's no FDIC behind anything. And so Visa and MasterCard are like, no, we're not touching that. So it's really offshore funding and what have you that really helps with that, with these payment providers. I have had the hardest time finding payment providers for CBD, and it just so happens here at AdSum that there's two of them that I found, and I wanted to present both of them to you. And one of them is Pay Certify. So Chase, who is here, that's his email address. Pay Certify is doing CBD funding, and it's about a week and a half long process. It's not near as arduous as some of the processes that I have seen where business owners are having to give up passports and things of that nature to even to get an account to do this with. And also Theo, thank you very much. Theo has also got some payment providers for CBD, and he's a great resource that's here in the room. His contact info is also there. So I would implore you to get with Theo to get some payment providing for CBD for you guys on that.
So just to kind of clarify, so you don't know of any domestic bank that is taking CBD?
I do not. I
So if
wish I
somebody-
did.
If somebody says we have a domestic bank that takes CBD, complete bullshit.
Pretty much.
Okay.
There are. There's some companies that are out there that are trying to claim that they can do this, try to claim that they can do it domestically, but when you start going down the rabbit hole, and I've done this with a couple of companies, I'll leave them a name, but they're actually out there advertising that they can provide CBD processing, and I couldn't get processing to save my life. I'd make it through their application process, and then suddenly it's like, okay, I'm ready to integrate, and then they disappear. So I don't know what smoke and mirrors are there or what they're trying to do,
Right.
but it's really baffled me.
Okay, and I mean, and you, obviously, arguably you, somebody very experienced in the space, would have the product with the absolute best testing behind it, where a bank would have, if somebody was gonna get approved with a merchant account in the domestic space, the quality of the products you've worked with would be the ones that would get approved.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
And honestly, that would speak to the Fulfillment Labs product as well. I found it to be top notch. Another question? No? Oops. Excuse me. So the opportunities for trial is really to take, what is AdSim all about? It's about taking and helping advertisers become better advertisers, right? Yep. And becoming a better advertiser might open up doors from this negative options aspect of things into, something that I can build that I can actually sell. We've got some rare instances like Robin, who I don't know if Robin's in the room, but Robin's one of those few guys that's actually built a trial company and sold it. But that's a rare entity. But what if you had something that 5 years down the road, you've got all these great customers because you kept them all happy and you kept them all with all this gratification, selling them CBD oil, and you've got something you can actually sell 5 years down the road to get your big payday. So that's the opportunity that I really see with CBD because it has that instant gratification aspect of it, and it works. Now, provided that we don't see the law try to shut it all down, which I really don't think is going to happen. It's gotten too popular and it's grown too quickly. To where it's like if people were to do that, it's actually going to create, it's going to create a very negative light around things. You can get true continuity out of it. I've been running subscriptions on that particular website. And it's not really even marketed, and it's doing easily about 15 grand a month without even trying. Just on subscription, just on a tincture subscription, 2 bottles a month. And the growth is exponential. It's crazy. I don't even deal with affiliate traffic on that site at all. Just manage a little bit of media buy spend with it. And for every $8,000 I put in the kitty, I'm seeing $46,000 back. And that ratio has continued over the last year and 3 months since I've been tackling one traffic source with this. It's been awesome. Quality product I mentioned from Fulfillment Lab. And I want you guys to ask me anything. I want you to beat me up. Cool.
Hi, my name's Otto. I'm actually, my core competency is liability, and I'm in the product liability space. So you mentioned soil to oil.
Yes.
Can you help me understand the process? Because when I go to Walmart and I buy a canned version of corn, Walmart didn't make that corn. They bought it from somebody who bought it from somebody who bought it from somebody who bought it from somebody.
Got it.
So how does that work with CBD?
Absolutely. Great question. Great question. So when I say soil to oil, I'm talking about taking the original plant, which may be a seed, it might be a clone, and growing it to where it flowers, and then taking that plant, putting it through an extraction process, and then from that extraction process, bottling a product, doing all the packaging, and then putting it up for sale. So I've taken it all the way from a seed or a plant all the way to a retail level. Nothing's outsourced. No. A lot of companies that I see, in the CBD space, you got money that'll change hands from the grower, a guy that'll just be a farmer. He'll just grow. Doesn't do anything else with it, and then sells it off to an extractor. The extractor then sells it off to a wholesaler, and the wholesaler then sells it off to a retailer. And you have all these, those are the steps that money changes hands in the process. Okay? So to go to a farmer who's also the retailer is kind of a rarity.
I understand the vertical integration.
Okay.
I still haven't, because what you've been talking about is, you're selling that?
Yeah.
That's your label on the bottle?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Well, no, it's actually that company's label. It's their brand. So what they did was they broke themselves into 3 companies to protect themselves. So they have one company that's the growing company, another company that's the extraction company, another company that's the retail company. But it's all the same company under the same umbrella.
Intercompany sales?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Cool.
So for the Fulfillment Labs offerings,
Uh-huh.
are they doing these on demand? Are we doing have to buy a quantity up front?
No, they are available to do on demand. Of course, I think that's going to be somewhat limited, but they've got a lot of resources to go out, with the wholesale to the right growers or right extractors, I should say. And what they had to present to me, I was very impressed that they could handle. They could probably push. I'm not even going to put a number on it. Several thousands upon thousands of orders a day without question. So they totally blow it up.
And when you talked about, in the beginning, you talked about a reference code on the testing certificates.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work with the Fulfillment Labs? Each
I
individual
don't know if
label
Fulfillment
has that,
Labs
or-
is actually providing that. They might provide you with the lab results like they did me of that current batch. But to go and actually like put a number on a bottle, that's taking an extra step that you're only going to find from a soil to oil manufacturer, really.
Would you recommend that that's an appropriate step to take, though, to assure quality to the consumer?
I think that you're going to get quality from the consumer based on their source in and of itself. I think that going that far is taking maybe 3 steps too far. It is a disparaging return. I have seen maybe 10% of the traffic that has bought come back and actually look for what the lab results were. And, that might be just other industry people just sniffing at like what was sold to them,
But from
frankly
a
speaking.
compliance point of view, though, so coming from the Nutra space, one thing we've always had to deal with would be, we've bought this green coffee bottle extract from the fulfillment company, not the fulfillment lab. I'm just saying a generic fulfillment company.
Yeah.
And they said it was containing certain things, and then it was tested by certain people and discovered that that was complete bullshit. Capsules didn't contain what they said it did. Now, looking at CBD being such a highly scrutinized thing right now,
Right.
would you say that the better, why wouldn't I want to double test it on my own to be safe and know that there's nothing out there that can get me that all of a sudden the THC value was higher than what they told me it was and things like that?
Yeah, well, you're speaking right to that point I had up here about quality source. And that's where, that's why I vetted Fulfillment Labs personally. I know what they've got. I know what's good in the market and what's not good in the market. You are going to be provided with testing results as you would like. You can go ahead and have them tested yourself as well. You might find small variances in your testing based on what ended up in the bottle, even from the same batch. But I feel pretty confident in what they've got and how transparent they have been with me throughout that process, as I kind of scrutinize them pretty heavily. But I can't speak to every fulfillment company out there like that. I know there's ones that were out there to screw people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a great question for the folks over at Fulfillment Labs. I don't have that. Liz, do you? On-demand pricing, do you have that?
Yeah, I mean, everything is it's not cookie cutter. There's a ton of different ways we can go about it when it comes to pricing. So I would really love to have any questions. You guys could come over here and we can talk about it. Excuse me?
What's the starting price point?
For which product? With the tincture. So yeah, it starts around $6. And then, so it's in that range from 6 to 7 when it comes to any of them. So we have our capsules, our tincture, and we just got our CBD pain cream as well. So that's really the $6 to $7 range, but yeah.
How many milligrams on the kind of $6 product in tincture and capsule?
So the capsules are 30 milligrams, and then the tincture is the milliliters is 15 milliliters, right?
So the capsules are 10 milligrams a piece, so it's 300 milligrams in total in the bottle.
Perfect.
And then the tinctures are coming in at 250 plus, because it's just in that range where it could be 250 to 260 for the tincture. And then the pain cream is going to be 300 as well.
Does that help you? Does that leave more questions in your head on product? Because I'm happy to answer them.
I'll keep the other questions when I talk about
Okay, great. Yeah, absolutely. Price per milligram, like a 10 milligram capsules, I would retail at like $29.99 on Pure Hemp Botanicals. Put them on sale for $24.95. Yes.
So for your
There's
media,
Robin.
so for the media you're running right now for the other stuff, is that mostly direct buys since most networks?
It's all direct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all direct. I've got some friends that started a killer cannabis-only network that I get dibs on traffic on, so it's pretty easy peasy. Yes?
Is there a competitive advantage that you can lean on from the Fulfillment Labs products? Is there some competitive advantage to their process that others might not?
There is in that it's quality product, and I've seen a lot of crap product out there in the world too, and a lot of product that claims that it's actually CBD, and it's actually not. It's just really like hemp oil, like the other gentleman had the question on. So rest assured that you're going to get a product that your customer is going to get that's full spectrum, and they're going to have effect on, and that's really what it's about. It's about making your customers happy. Joshua from Rev Labs talked about this in the beginning of his session, where he's like, I've been like systematically like looking at all of my trial offers and seeing how this all backs up. But the one question I want to ask now is, how can I make my customers happy? And it's not a negative option really, question to ask, but he started asking that question, and it really expanded his business. And that's what I see the opportunity with CBD. That's why I mentioned that, because it's got that edge in it to where it can really convert your business or at least maybe an arm of your business into something that's a true continuity instead of or could be trial continuity, but something that the customer is going to be happy with. Versus where you're backpedaling into like, no man, just another 5 days with that supplement, that type of thing. Any other questions? Come on, guys, hammer me. I'm up here. Yes.
Might be a little bit off topic, but I wanted to get your opinion on if you think there's any potential for industrial hemp products. Like, do you think that it would correlate to the same marketplace?
Okay, when you say industrial hemp products, can you give me some examples?
I've heard of hemp products coming out where they're using for building houses and things like that out of hemp products. I was just wondering if you knew if there's any potential in investing in something like that.
I definitely do.
Okay.
Hemp overall has got far more dense cellulose to it than wood.
Mm-hmm.
It's more sustainable. It has a plethora of different things. It doesn't need pesticides.
Right.
It's a plethora of different things that make it a much more viable material for us to use instead of ones that deplete or destroy or take years like a tree to grow the same cellular density. So yeah, I think hemp is really the way. Henry Ford thought the same thing. As Ford came up earlier today, I believe, and it was interesting because An interesting factoid. Henry Ford originally built the first car here in the U.S. to run on hemp oil. He did not see oil as, the de facto in like what he was doing, but it was all hemp, and he was right. In fact, there's a Popular Science issue that was released, I think, in 1939 that had like the 30,000 uses of hemp in it. This is just prior to the criminalization of it. But yeah, it's massively awesome. By the way, thank you again for showing me the Easter egg in the Tesla. For those who don't know, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra is now programmed into the Teslas, and you press a button or something, and it activates the Easter egg, and the Tesla does a whole dance with its electronical parts and lights to that music. It's crazy. Anyway, any other questions on CBD? Wow. Yes, Robin, go.
With all of the potential benefits that CBD has, just in your experience, what is the number or a couple of the big ones that people are buying it for? Is it mostly the pain, or is just curious what angles are the biggest?
The biggest, well, the biggest has been pain. Pain is pretty big time. What I'm seeing, kind of the rumblings of that I think has more potential than just pain relief, although pain relief is pretty massive, is PTSD, anxiety relief. One of the big things that Nate advocates is with veterans and PTSD, and I believe that CBD would be a great thing to offer these veterans that will really get them through the anxiety that they have. I think that with ADD, that anxiety thing, that's huge. But yeah. But there's CBD has far bigger impact in terms of what it can do to the body, but much smaller niches, like people with Parkinson's disease. I've got video of guys who, older guys who are just shaking uncontrollably, and they'll vape CBD or take CBD in with tincture, what have you. And literally 15 to 20 minutes later, they're not shaking. And what stood out in my mind was this man saying words just like this. The relief was God, what were the exact words? They're amazing. It was unfathomable. The relief was unfathomable. He was sitting there calmly, no shaking. The other thing that's been really big, if you guys take a look at a website called Canna Kids, and that's moms advocating for CBD use for kids that have epileptic seizures. Complete relief there. In fact, that's really what CW Hemp was built on, was providing those kids relief from epilepsy. Yes? Serving sizes. Oh, that can vary, man. The endocannabinoid system is like your fingerprint. Yeah. It's unique in each person. Average, a squirt from a tincture bottle in your coffee in the morning, that's kind of an average, but it's really going to be variable based on the person. These 3,000 milligram tinctures that have been flying out the door at a couple $100. I think people are wanting more than what they might need, right? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Is it taken with food better absorbed?
Oh, great question. If you heat it up, I believe it's over 230 degrees that the CBD will start to dissipate. So, you can bake with it, but you got to bake at low temp. Putting it in food, excellent choice. Oh, glass of water. I just squirt it right in my mouth. You could take it in capsule form. You could take the isolate aspect of things, and you could, put it in the frosting on cookies. Yeah, you could get creative.
So putting in your coffee won't hurt it then?
No. In fact, I would advocate butter, MCT oil, and CBD in your coffee.
Very bulletproof.
Very bulletproof, yes. I put coconut in there too, but I'm allergic to that stuff. So, any other questions? Come on, Michael. I know you got something there.
We'll see you after class.
Yeah, he will. I know he will. Right on, brother. Okay, thanks you guys. Really appreciate it.